Hey everybody, it's Kathy, and in today's video I'm going to share some tips and tricks with you on how to look 10 pounds thinner instantly if you are short like me. As a petite plus size woman, it's sometimes challenging to dress in a way that I can look longer and leaner. So these are actual tips that I use, maybe not on a daily basis, but I do use them to help myself look longer and leaner. Now, do you have to, follow these tips 100% all the time? Absolutely not. Wear what makes you feel confident and comfortable. But if you're looking for some tips on how can I look, a little longer and leaner if you're going out somewhere special, these tips I can guarantee you will have you looking 10 pounds thinner instantly. Now, before I get into the tips, I just want to make you aware that on my part, I always try and show as much of the looks and the clothes that I'm talking about on my body, because it's not always easy to find size inclusive models modeling the clothes that I show you. So if you see that I'm not modeling the clothes, that's because it's impossible for me to own every piece of clothing out there. And secondly, you'll sometimes say, well, it's not a plus size model. Well, I can't use a plus size model if the company doesn't use a plus size model. So companies are slowly getting a little bit better and being more size inclusive. But for the most part, I get it. It's frustrating, whenever we see something and they're just showing it on maybe a size 6 and you really can't think about, well, how's that really going to look on my more curvier body? So, if you see me showing something on a thinner model, just know that is because the manufacturer or this brand has not chosen to use a model that looks like me. So everybody wants to look 10 pounds thinner, right? You could be 5 pounds over your goal weight, or you could be 50 pounds over your goal weight like I am. And these tips should apply to every body and every body shape. So the first tip that I love and I use quite a lot is dressing in a column of color. And a column of color is basically when you wear one color from top to bottom. So you could have, say, dark pants with a dark t-shirt, and then you could put on a different colored blazer or sweater. Or a column of color could also be, for example, black pants with a black blazer and maybe a white t-shirt. So just as long as you're getting one long length, that is a column of color. Now, it doesn't always have to be, black or navy. This also works in lighter colors as well. So just as long as there's one cohesive color column from top to bottom, that is going to help you look longer and leaner and thinner. The next tip that I have is to dress in clothes that fit your body. Now, as somebody that is 5'4" and has a 27-inch inseam, pretty much most of the time I have to get my pants hemmed. There's once in a while I'll get a pair of pants where I can get a petite length, but even now I find a lot of stores call a 30-inch inseam a petite length, when to me that's more of like a normal length. So inevitably, I usually have to get the leg shortened on my pants. And if I can't find a petite size top or a jacket, inevitably I have to get the arms shortened as well. But it's very worthwhile shortening your clothes and maybe putting a little tuck in under the chest, just because then the clothes look like they were tailored exactly for your body, like they were custom made. And just doing those little tweaks can really help to make you look thinner. My next slimming tip is avoid boxy clothing that is too large. I know as somebody that carries extra weight, it's sometimes you just want to cover up because you think that that's going to hide, like in my case, my belly, but I'm actually doing a disservice to myself because it's not giving my body any shape. It's just making me actually look larger and rounder. So don't wear clothing that is like so tight that the buttons are popping, and also don't wear clothing that's too large that you can't see your curves. So ideally you want your clothing to skim over your curves, and that goes with the previous tip where you might have to nip it in a little bit here and there. So if you can sew, that's great, or I recommend finding a seamstress. Now, whenever I get a pair of jeans jeans, I take them to this lady. She has a tailor shop and she only charges me $5, well, it might be $8 now, to hem a pair of pants. And to me, that is well worth the investment because first of all, I have no interest in learning how to sew. And second of all, my pants, even though I have to invest, maybe $8 to get them hemmed, they do look like they were made ideally for my body. So tailoring your clothing, if you have to like nip and tuck a few things, like a V-neck, you might find it too plunging. So you could always just get like it tacked there, and then it's still going to give you the look of a V-neck, which elongates the neck. And we'll get into that later on in the video. So my next tip is to avoid large prints. And prints can be our friend if we have like a belly that we want to hide, because if you have the right print, it can kind of trick the eye and it doesn't know exactly where to look. So then it's not going to see, your belly area. But I find the problem is a lot of times with plus size clothing is they are so ugly. They use some of the most hideous prints. They'll use like large prints, which they should not be using, or very busy, tiny prints. So for myself, my preference is to find a small to medium print that I feel comfortable wearing, that I feel when I look in the mirror that I look good, because that is what you should be doing. Look in the mirror, and if you're looking at yourself and you're kind of like, not sure if I like this, then I suggest not wearing it. But if you look in the mirror and you say, wow, I really like this, that's the kind of clothing you want to wear because it's going to give you confidence. It's going to make you feel good about yourself. So if you kind of have to talk yourself into liking something, from my experience, it's probably not the right piece of clothing for you. So you want to avoid prints that are loud, like, I say a great big rose on your top, or just something that's too large, or it's like singular, like there's only one of it, because that like brings the attention. Whereas say it was a rose on your top, but there are maybe 5 tinier roses, I think that would be more flattering. I'm just using the rose as an example of a print. Like just try and stay away from like one huge massive print, like a palm leaf or a rose or a poppy or whatever it may be. Avoid prints that are loud or in high contrast colors. So go for more muted tones and clothes that go together. So what do I mean by high contrast colors? So high contrast colors are colors that are directly opposite of each other on the color wheel. So for example, if I was wearing red pants and I went with a green top, it would scream Christmas, right? But it's probably not the best look, and that's going to have everybody's eyes just looking at me, and that is not what I want. So what I could do is still wear red pants even though, I have a bit of a belly. You don't have to stay away from any color, but some colors are more flattering than others. I'm just using this as an example. Then I might want to go for a different tone of red on the top, or something that's in the red family. So you just don't want your clothes screaming at people, and that's what I mean by high contrast colors. Another example would be, black and white. Sometimes I will wear that. It does look nice, but that's a high contrast color because the black and the white are opposite each other, and there's like a huge variation in the shades of the colors. Another example would be yellow and purple. So say maybe if I wore purple and red or purple and blue, that might be less of a high contrast color. I hope that I'm explaining that in a way that you can understand, because this is just something that I have recently become aware of, and it's like, yeah, that does make sense. Now, does this mean never wear, red and green or purple and yellow? Absolutely not. Wear what makes you happy. The most important thing to remember is that whenever you look in the mirror, you like what you see looking back at you. These are just guidelines, they're just suggestions. They are not written in stone. So have you ever looked at a lady and she looks really sharply dressed and put together? It's probably because her clothing is all of similar tones. And you'll see that a lot, like say on, I'll use Talbots as an example. If they have a lady that's dressed, from head to toe with her shoes, her top, her pants, a coat, it's usually tones or colors that, blend very well together. Like sometimes there will be the odd one where it's like high contrast. But if you want like a classic classic stylish look, always try and go with the same or similar tones of colors, because that's always going to have you looking really classy and looking like your outfit is just, perfect. So the next tip that I have for you is wearing a V-neck or a scoop neck. As somebody that has a round face and a short neck, a V-neck is my friend. You can see how it opens up this area and it brings the eyes up, so away from my belly. Now you may not feel comfortable wearing a V-neck, and that's absolutely fine. A few suggestions that I might have is you might find this V-neck is too plunging. So like I said earlier, you could get it tacked and you still have a little bit of a V-neck. Now, you still may not feel comfortable with that, so then what I might suggest is you could wear like a scoop neck, which isn't quite as deep as a V-neck, or if you want to wear like a crew neck, which I don't usually recommend, but I do wear on occasion. I, have this Spanx t-shirt that I recently bought that is a crew neck, and I like it, so I'm going to wear it. But I know that it's probably not the most slimming look, but I don't care. I like it. I want to wear it. If you are not comfortable wearing a V-neck, you could go with a crew neck and then, wear a necklace that's hanging down, and that sort of creates a V-neck as well. So there's lots of tips and tricks that you can use just to help to bring attention upwards to your face, and therefore they're not like looking at your belly area if that's your problem area like mine is. So this next tip, I'm including it, but it's not something that I personally agree with 100% of the time. And I'm talking about boot cut or flare leg pants. And I'm going to tell you why. I really feel this is a matter of personal preference. And as I said earlier, I'm 5'4" with a 27-inch inseam. And I recently bought these Spanx wide leg pants because I wanted to see what they would like, because I know a lot of stylists say whenever you are short, try and wear wide leg pants. I've never really been a fan because I feel that they are too overwhelming. So I choose straight leg pants or like tapered leg pants. And I know some women would say, well, it's not really flattering, but I think it is for my body shape. So it's really important to find a cut of pant that works for you. Now, does the bootleg pant make me look a little taller? Yes, I believe that it does, but I still find that the wide leg is just like way too overwhelming for me. But I do get how they're saying that if you're wearing a wider leg pant, it kind of puts your body in proportion, because for myself, as an apple-shaped woman, my shoulders are rounder and broader. So if I wear tapered pants, it kind of makes me look like a linebacker. So the idea is if I'm wearing a wide leg pant, then my shoulders and my cuffs of my pants are in proportion. But like I said, I don't 100% agree. I don't like the look on me. I bought the Spanx wide leg pants because I wanted to see, would I like them? They're okay. They're not my favorite. I'm being honest with you. I still prefer the look of a straight leg or a taper leg pant, but until you try something, you just don't know. So let me know, what do you think if you're petite? Do you like wide leg pants or do you prefer straight leg pants? I really do believe that it's a matter of personal preference, as is everything when we are getting dressed every day. So the next tip is to create a waist. Because usually when you're plus size, or if you have an apple-shaped belly like I do, or an apple-shaped body, we don't have a defined waist. So one of the ways that I like to do that is by wearing a wrap dress or a wrap top, an pear waist where the waistline is like underneath the bust. So, your waist is a little higher up. I wouldn't recommend wearing a belt, because if your body shape is like mine, the belt would be on my belly button, and that's the widest part of my body. So it's kind of like bringing attention to that area. I don't even own a belt. I've never worn a belt, I don't think, like maybe on a dress. But again, I always would put it up underneath my bust. So, you could look for a peplum top. Peplum tops are tricky for me. Like I said, my favorite type is a wrap dress or a wrap top. And I usually go with the faux because I prefer just to pull it on over my head, because if I have to tie it, I'm always afraid that it's going to come undone during the day. So just somehow create a waist. And if you implement this next tip, this is one of the best ways to create a waist and instantly look 10 pounds thinner, and I'm talking about wearing the proper size bra. It's really important to get a bra fitting at least once a year. If you've put on weight, if you've lost a lot of weight, if you've had surgery, things shift as we age. Just wearing the proper size bra really truly does make you instantly look thinner because it's pulling the girls up. So now you have space underneath your bust. I also recommend every day when you put your bra on, adjust your bra straps. They need to be adjusted every day because they can become a little bit loose. And I also heard, and I'm not sure if this is true, maybe somebody that works in a lingerie department can let us know, you should not wear the same bra in consecutive days. I honestly don't know why. I'm curious. I would love an answer on that. I don't know if it's true or if it's just some old tale that somebody started. So if anybody knows, be sure to let us know. Now, some of my favorite bras to wear, I love Chantal, I love Wake-Hole, and most recently, I really like the Spanx Braleluia. I like an underwire in my bra. I know that the Spanx bra that I like also comes in a wire-free option, but I think the biggest size that it goes to is a D cup for the Spanx. For the Chantal and the Wake-Hole, I'm not sure. I wear 40D, so I really don't pay attention to the other sizes that much. But probably I would assume that they have, double D or different sized bras. It's really important to invest in a good bra, especially if you have a larger chest. From experience, I've picked up cheap bras at, places like Victoria's Secrets, and they just do not give me the support that I need. And plus, it's really hard to find ones that fit properly for the band size. So it's really, really important to make sure that you're wearing a really good bra and to adjust it accordingly. So my next tip for us to look longer and leaner and 10 pounds thinner is to match your shoe color to your pants. Or if you're wearing a dress or a skirt or shorts, match your shoe color to your flesh. And what this does is you want your shoe basically to blend in and disappear. So then it's creating just one long length. So you really, when the eye is looking at you, it doesn't see the break where, say I was wearing black pants with white sneakers, which I do sometimes and which is fine. But if you want to look taller, then if I was wearing black pants, I should probably wear black sneakers. So just everything blends in and my leg looks, a little bit longer. So do you remember when you were younger and your mom said, stand up straight? This is one of the things that I really have to work on. I mention this in every style video that I do, and it's our posture. It doesn't cost anything. So important to stand up straight, put our shoulders back, our chest out, chin up, and that instantly makes you look taller and therefore longer and leaner. So it's really important when Mom was saying, stand up straight, that we really need to take that advice. Another trick that you can do is just wear a lightweight scarf wrapped around your neck and just let it hang down your body. And this just automatically takes the eye and it has this looking down the center of your body and it's looking at the length of the scarf. Now, if I had the scarf wrapped around my neck, it's probably going to look here and then it's going to make my neck look a lot larger. But just try it if you have a scarf around your house. Try wrapping it around your neck and then just, drape it around your neck and then down, and you'll see that it actually creates, one long length, and you do look a little bit taller wearing a scarf that way. You can also use a long necklace in the same way as the scarf, like I alluded to earlier. If you want to wear like a crew neck or a higher neckline, then just put on a nice longer pendant necklace. And that creates, some length in the middle of the body. And it also can create the illusion of a V-neck. Now, I'm just going to tell you for myself, I don't like to wear any necklaces that go like past here. Because what I find is my belly sits up high pretty much right underneath my bust. And if my necklace was sitting on my belly, then it just brings the attention to that area. So I'm very careful whenever I do wear necklaces that they aren't that long on me. And like I said, we're all different, so you just have to play around and find a length that works for you. My next style tip is to wear a bracelet. Our wrist is the slimmest part of our arm, so I like to wear bracelets. They're easy to pop on, they're fun. So if you just push your sleeves up a little bit and expose your wrist and put on some nice bracelets. I like daintier ones. I don't like anything too big or clunky because I have like a thick wrist anyways. My wrist is actually like 7 inches round. It's all bone. So I like smaller, daintier bracelets. So the next style tip that you might want to try is pushing your sleeves up a bit. And if you live in a warm climate, you don't have to worry about this, but you know, it's fall here. It's still 80 Fahrenheit here. Like, when are we ever going to get the nice fall weather? In the wintertime, it's too cold for me to go around with a short sleeve top, and you know, some tops that can be flattering also stop at, you know, just above the elbow. Still too cold for that. So if you live in a cold climate like I do, I suggest maybe just rolling your sleeves up a little bit so you're exposing your wrist, but just put your arm down beside your body, and you kind of have to play with it because our bellies, you know, some may sit high, some may sit lower. You just don't want the bare part of your arm like sitting next to where the biggest part of your belly may be. So you might have to turn your sleeves up a little bit more. I usually just pull mine up kind of like that, and then I'll put my bracelet on, you know, and for me that just hits below my hip. But if you have shorter arms, I guess, and you might have to, you know, turn your cuff up a little bit higher. So you again, you know, one rule doesn't fit all. You kind of have to play around with it, and you look in the mirror and figure out what works the best for you. The next slimming tip that I have is to wear all of the same color but in different tones. And as you can see by these examples, you know, somebody might be wearing all blue, but it's different tones of blue. And it's very, very flattering. It looks classic. It looks like the outfit, you know, is very stylish, and it makes you look expensive, even if your clothing may not be that expensive. So that's just another trick that we can implement to help us look a little thinner. And the other thing about dressing in the same color family or tones, or however you want to call it, is it doesn't chop your body in half. So for example, you can see in this example, the person is wearing all the similar colors, different tones or colors of the same, you know, blue or brown, whatever. But in this picture, when they're wearing, say, a dark pants and a lighter top, you can see how it kind of cuts the body. It's not to say never wear a look like this, but you can just see them side by side, that wearing all clothing of similar colors, similar shades. It's a much more flattering look, and it's going to make you look a little bit longer and thinner than the other look where, you know, you're wearing two contrasting colors. And my next tip is something, like I said earlier, I don't even own a belt, and it's to avoid belts, because I believe, as somebody that has a larger belly that carries most of my weight in my midsection, I do not want to put a belt there. I want to avoid my belly area like the plague. If I was to wear a belt, it would just scream, look at her big belly. So if you want to wear a belt, I suggest wearing it up higher underneath your bust to create the look of a waistline. Now, as for the size of the belt, I don't know. I think that's something you need to play around with. Maybe a thinner belt would work better, or a wider belt. I honestly am not a belt expert. So it's just something you have to play around with. I would suggest getting one that is very similar in color to the top or the dress that you are wearing, because I think that, say you were wearing a black top and you put on like a bright yellow belt, that's kind of bringing attention, right? So I would probably go with like a black belt, kind of in the same color family, and you just want it to blend in, but it's noticeable enough that, yeah, she does look like she has a little bit of a waist there. So it kind of is an illusion and tricks the eye. If you haven't checked out my video, how to save money and afford quality clothes while shopping online, go check out that video. I have a lot of money saving tips and tricks where you can afford to buy clothes that maybe you thought weren't in your budget, and I can meet you over at that video. Thanks for watching. Bye.